All right. So Daniela, whenever you're ready to close this out and read the results of the poll, we can officially get this show on the road.
Okay, perfect. I'll close it now. Okay, we don't have a very high poll participation today, maybe because everyone is getting their coffee. Thanks
Yes,
to
they're
Sunny.
practicing Sunny's. Yeah, they're practicing Sunny's life hacks.
Exactly. Yes. We do have production and Success 360 support level, half and half, yes and no, using Skyline. Hopefully after today they will. More than
Yes.
5 people on their team using Skyline. And
Yes.
basically all the Skyline features are favorites, which is great to hear.
Very good to hear.
Yes, and yes, they have acted on practice findings and recommendations and not applicable for the ones who don't have Skyline yet. And let me see if I can see the video game answer. Okay, well, I get that checked. They script in PowerShell.
Okay.
And we have a suggestion for future webinar topics, which is great. Thank you.
Sweet.
I'd like to incorporate your suggestions. Okay. Kelsey,
Right.
if you'd like to start, I'll send the video game answer shortly in chat.
And we'll talk about it as well. So I think we've got some time set aside for that. So let's do it. You ready to get officially started? Get this show on the road?
Let's do it.
All right. All right. Let's go ahead and do it. So hello, everyone. I am Kelsey Lemon, Senior Technical Marketing Manager here at VMware. And joining me today is my partner in crime,
Sunny Nguyen, Senior Technical Marketing Engineer.
And I got to say, we're pretty excited about this webinar. We recently did a survey, right? And tips and tricks along with security and privacy, which is going to be our focus next month, ranked pretty high in the topics that you all wanted to see more content on. So again, this particular session today is dedicated to tips and tricks, and the timing, quite frankly, is perfect. Since today also represents the day that a new release of Skyline has launched. So Sunny and I, we're going to be sharing some tips and tricks that even our most veteran users out there haven't even seen before. And of course, no webinar would be complete without our senior product marketing manager, Michelle Clopton, and our marketing program manager, Daniela Quesada. And so they're going to be doing some helping us basically with Q&A. So make sure that you're using that Q&A option there at the bottom of the screen. And in the spirit of conversation, right, if you share your success story, either in chat or if you want to come off mute and share your story today, Michelle and Daniela, they would love to hear from you. As a matter of fact, they've got some cool swag, as you can see here on the screen, to give away. So keep that in mind as we go through today's presentation. And speaking of swag, right, in the video game and all that kind of good stuff, right? The team, we've launched a new campaign to sort of kick off 2023, and we're calling on all of our technologists, right, to join the Skyline SPU, our Skyline Proactive Unit, right? You can go to the URL here listed on the screen. And as you work through our gamified mission, right, that consists of 10 different targets, right? You get points, you increase your ranks, you go up within the SPU, and you can even get some more cool swag that Michelle and Daniela has given us. As a matter of fact, Michelle, you want to talk about the swag in general?
Yeah, so we have some great Skyline swag, including t-shirts, which I think you saw pictured on the other slide. We have some jackets and hoodies and phone stands, masks, so lots of very cool Skyline limited edition swag.
Very, very cool. As a matter of fact, there's even a leaderboard here for this gamified mission, right? And so some of our latest recruits, as you can see, they're already on it. And if you're not participating, we definitely want to see your names on it too. And Sunny, you and I talked about this. The Skyline team, we actually spared no expense in the trailer for this video game that we're doing and to drum up interest. And I thought this would be a good time to sort of show it to all of our participants. You ready to roll it, my friend?
Definitely.
Let's do it, bro. Let's do it.
Greetings, agent. Please enter your login credentials. Logging into the Skyline Proactive Unit portal. Conducting facial recognition. Facial recognition complete. Generating secure communication portal. I'm Kay, and I'm going to be your handler on this mission, consisting of 10 targets. Though their whereabouts are unknown, we've received intel that they may have infiltrated the systems that our operatives manage. To aid in your investigation of these targets, we've granted you access to Skyline Advisor, our monitoring service that offers proactive intelligence and insights. Don't think of it as another tool. It's a member of your team. And, as you solve each case, you get ranking points, which elevate your status within our organization. And there are several ways to get them. You get 20 ranking points if you can detect and eliminate each target. To detect a target, do a keyword search of the case number, provided by each of the briefing documents on our secure briefing portal, within Skyline's active findings. If the finding is there, leverage the finding ID card. Make note of the finding ID, description, severity of the issue, as well as the risk to our environments if no action is taken. More importantly, leverage the knowledge base articles that will help you eliminate your target. You can close each case by sending a screenshot of the finding ID, located under the remediated object section of Skyline's historical trends report, to VMware_Skyline at VMware.com. If the target cannot be detected as an active finding within Skyline, do a keyword search of the case number within Skyline's findings catalog and send a screenshot of the results to VMware_Skyline at VMware.com. Doing this will provide you 10 ranking points. Finally, we're giving you an opportunity to settle old scores. Remediate any active finding of your choice by sending a screenshot of any finding ID, located under the remediated objects section of Skyline's historical trends report, to VMware_Skyline at VMware.com. Doing so will provide 5 ranking points. The maximum amount of finding IDs that you can submit is 10, meaning that you can get a total of 50 points for this special assignment. Good luck, agent. And no, this recording will not self-destruct in 10 seconds. That's another team.
So, Sonny, I heard on good authority that the director of this video can actually spell Spielberg, though we couldn't actually get Spielberg. So just a little bit of trivia. And so with that said, right, here's our agenda for today. We're going to do a couple things, right? For those of you who are new, we're going to describe the Skyline service. We're going to talk about, basically what is it, right? Then we're going to shed some light on some of the latest features at launch today. And then we're going to go a little bit deeper, right? And we're going to talk about how not only the new features, but some of the existing features can help you, better manage a couple of things, whether it's your support request when you're using one of those top features like log assist. We're going to talk about how you can manage your collector. We're going to talk about other ways where you can sort of manage various account types, right, in different scenarios that you may encounter when leveraging the service. And of course, no webinar would be complete without that proverbial call to action. So we've got that as well. And so with that, let's just jump right in and talk about the Skyline service for our new customers out there, just by answering the question, right? Just what exactly is Skyline? And so to answer that question, right, just let some context about the overall support experience that I'm sure that you all can relate to. So here it goes, right? As a customer, I'm sure you're all very familiar with that traditional, that reactive support scenario, right? Where you experience an issue in our environment, you open an SR with VMware, then our tech support team troubleshoots and they work with you to resolve that issue. Well, with that being said, Skyline, for those of you who are new and you're just in the discovery mode of learning what the service is, it's actually the sort of the next step in that process, right? It's actually a proactive support technology, meaning that it can actually help you avoid issues before they happen. So you don't even have the problem in the first place. And here's the best part, right? Skyline is available at no additional cost with your active production support or premier support contracts. And I'm also very happy to say that Skyline is also included with Success 360, as well as our Area Universal Suite subscriptions. And as you can see here, Skyline supports all of the products listed here. And one of the things that I also want to point out, right, is that Skyline's automated, that detection and proactive, that remediation guidance, right? It actually helps our customers strengthen their environments. And so with the service, our customers are letting us know that, they're avoiding IT downtime, that unplanned downtime at least, and they're reallocating that time to do more valuable work. And with that being said, right, on the reactive side of the support spectrum, right, Skyline actually helps resolve existing issues faster. So say, for example, if you've got a case open with us, our tech support engineers can use Skyline, right? And then they can view your environment specific configurations, right? And then at that point, they can actually use data-driven analytics to actually speed discovery and ultimately drive faster resolution times. So quite frankly, the bottom line is that Skyline helps you get proactive and you can stay productive, productive. And so instead of constantly being in firefighting mode, Skyline basically helps you focus your time on high priority business issues instead of just the tedium, quite frankly. And so, and with that being said, right, in terms of the benefits, what's in it for me, right? That's what all the customers want to know. So let's talk about it, right? So these capabilities, they're driving value to customers like you. We're hearing that Skyline helps our customers, again, avoid constantly being in firefighting mode. Our customers are telling us that they're reducing that costly unplanned downtime, which quite frankly is actually caused by misconfigurations. And the increased network reliability that Skyline helps you avoid actually translates into less time fixing errors. Again, that reactive side of the support spectrum. And so as you can see here, from a recent industry report, 1 hour of downtime, 1 hour. And again, thanks, Michelle, for this stat, but for an enterprise, that can average anywhere from $1 to $5 million. And customers, right, who are strategically making that decision, right, to take a more proactive approach to support, they're significantly reducing that unplanned downtime. So we're talking about hundreds of hours here. And with that being said, right, to date, Skyline has helped over 14,000 plus customers identify nearly 170 million objects in their environments with potential issues. And our customers are proactively resolving more than 73% of those on their own. And so kudos for you who have taken the survey and you said that you're acting on the Skyline service. And so this is where that value is sort of being realized here. And again, we're talking about transitioning from the proactive support side of the support spectrum to the reactive side. There's going to be issues where, again, you may need to react to an issue that wasn't proactively resolved, right? And so with that being said, obviously Skyline can support you here as well through our log assist feature, which quite frankly is 17 times faster than the manual upload and transfer process, right? And when you do the math and you break all that down, right, that actually translates into nearly 100,000 hours saved, right? And so if you've done that traditional log transfer process, how slow that is. And so with that being said, the log assist feature removes a lot of that pain, again, giving you that very valuable time back to do more meaningful work. And so how does Skyline work? What's happening underneath the hood to enable all these benefits that our customers are reporting, right? And so there's a couple things you need to do. You need to install and configure a lightweight appliance known as a Skyline collector into your environment. And then once that collector is installed and configured to your endpoints, it begins to listen to start collecting product usage data. We're going to be talking more about this in a minute, but with that being said, right, based on the data, Skyline then performs a comprehensive analysis of your specific environmental details. And then at that point, Skyline acts to provide these proactive findings and remediations. And, whenever I talk about how the service works, inevitably, questions around privacy and security come up. And we're going to be doing a very, very focused session on privacy and security next month. But I just want to take this opportunity to sort of go into, some of the frequently asked questions, right? And so with that being said, right, when you activate Skyline, you essentially consent to participate in VMware's Enhanced Customer Experience Improvement Program, otherwise known as CEIP. And what that basically does is that it allows Skyline to collect configuration, feature usage, performance data, as well as product logs to provide recommendations, insight, and support, as well as give us the ability to basically just make the product better. And with that being said, right, when you're using log assist and things like that, the data that's collected and transmitted to VMware, we're using TLS 1.2 encryption protocols, and that product usage data is sent to VMware storage platform, and it is encrypted both in transit and at rest. I should also note that all the data is tagged with legally identifiable customer information, and that access to that data is limited to VMware employees and support and management. But even with that said, they all must undergo and receive manager approval. And we just talked about customer identifiable information. There's also a PII side to this, right? That personally identifiable information. And so with that said, when you're working within Skyline, you shouldn't enter, personal data or sensitive data when you're naming things like your ESXI host, your virtual machines, or things along those lines, because Skyline will pick it up. And so the onus is on you to make sure that things like that don't occur. And another frequently asked question that we get around privacy and security is obviously things around compliancy. And one of the questions that we get a lot is Skyline SOC 2 compliant? And the answer is yes, it is. And Sunny, I know this is one of your favorite slides because you helped build it. You want to talk about some of the resources here, my friend?
It is, yeah. So definitely off to the side towards the right. There's a lot of resources there that is very valuable for you to talk to your InfoSec team as well as for your management. It describes, the detail, a lot of the questions that other customers have asked, and then we've documented. It shows examples, and last but not least, it also shows how we protect your environment or your data as it's in transit and as it lands into our space. Okay.
Thanks for that, Sonny. And with that, right, now let's get to the good stuff, right? What's new in Skyline? This is the good stuff. So let's jump right into it, my friend. And so, we won't spend a lot of time on this slide, as a lot of the new features are actually woven into the tips and tricks component of today's webinar. But at a real high level, right, today's release, again, hot off the press, it's happening now. It went down today. The latest release of Skyline Advisor Pro includes features that extend Skyline to hyperscaler provider production support, otherwise known as HPPS, and authorized service providers, which I'm going to refer to from here on as ASPs. We made the announcement at VMware Explorer, and now it's official. We're bringing them to the table, so to speak. We've got features that actually integrate, area operations for logs. That's that artist formerly known as VRLI's Log Insight. We've got a lot of log assist enhancements. So for those who voted for that as their favorite feature, we've given you even more reasons to feel that log assist is your favorite feature. And then last but not least, we've given the ability for, to Skyline admins to restore deactivated accounts. And as you can see here, access to these new features is actually dependent on your collector being on the latest version, which is 3.3. And so if you don't have auto upgrade enabled, or if you've forgotten your passwords to perform a manual upgrade, fear not. We're going to be sharing some tips and tricks on these topics as well. And again, Sonny, we were just talking about the 3.3 collector. Is there anything, some additional insight that you would like to share here, my friend?
Sure, definitely. So as Kelsey mentioned, the new Skyline Advisor Pro has been released. The collector, however, 3.3 will not be available till tomorrow. So you can actually wait till tomorrow to start downloading and upgrading. If you're still running 2.x, please bring it up to 3.3. Likewise, if you're running 3.1, there is a flaw where it does not auto upgrade. So you need to do a manual upgrade from 3.1 to, if you want to do it today, you do the manual upgrade from 3.1 to 3.2, and then auto update will then make it 3.3. Okay, but definitely.
Did I just hear you say be proactive, basically? Just turn on auto upgrade now?
Correct.
Awesome.
So yeah, that's what we're here, pushing to be proactive.
There it is. Awesome. I love that, man. All right. And so with that, right, let's just jump right in with our first set of tips and tricks involving, again, one of Skyline's favorite feature, log assist, right? And so with that, right, starting today is officially launched, you can actually see log insights integration with Skyline within the dashboard as a reported endpoint, as well as VRLI's log insights, where you can see the inventory, you can see the view, you can actually use log assist as well within VRLI's log insight or area operations for log. And so you'll be able to do a lot of things here. And so we're going to rewind this back so that you can see, again, VRLI's log insight is now an endpoint. You can actually see everything related to it in its inventory. And then most importantly, again, you can actually send logs from area operations for logs or VRLI's log insight using a log assist feature. And so with that being said, one of the key benefits here is that, with this integration, right, this is going to dramatically streamline the process of getting these specific, logs, area operations for logs or VRLI's log insight logs to customer support. Before, this was pretty much something that was, what was it, Sonny, like SHD? And now it's actually within Skyline. So you'll be able to do that as well in terms of just getting these logs directly to customer support, where you can be more on the reactive side.
So two things. One thing is definitely in the inherent side, as you can see from the inventory, you can see the whole entire, environment as you're upgrading your log insight. It could be that you might have missed one. This will showcase as well, right? And then last but not least, within the findings of recommendation, you'll start to see VRLI insights as well, right? So recommendations on any kind of flaws, upgrades, changes. Yep.
Most definitely. Thanks, Sonny. And then our next log assisted related tip and trick is the idea that you can actually customize, log bundles, right? We've heard from customers like you, they wanted to be able to define, some advanced configurations, right? To make log uploads, more customized and specific to the task at hand and sort of help streamline the data that they wanted to send for resolution, right? Without sharing everything, right? Without any controls or settings. And so with that being said, right, this latest release gives Skyline customers the ability to provide some advanced configuration options, specifically for things like ESXI hosts, right? So if you were to do something like this, you can actually exclude core dumps, and you can even include vCenter logs with support. And if you're leveraging NSXT, you can actually set the age limit, within a specific time frame as well. And so again, this whole idea here is really around giving the users more control over the data that they share by giving the ability to, again, to exclude or to include core dumps and things along those lines. And so, Sonny, if there's anything additional you wanted to add here, my friend.
Definitely. So when you do the traditional, log pull to your desktop and upload, you have those options, right? It's only this release that you'll see that within here. The other scenario is if you had situations where your collector is sitting in your remote data center that doesn't have a lot of bandwidth, and you don't need all of the data, you only need those essential pieces. Here's where you can streamline that to get faster resolution.
Yes, Sonny. Can you hear? I can hear you. Can you hear me okay, Sonny?
Yes, I can.
Okay, this is great. Awesome. Okay, and so with that being said, let's go on to the next tip here. And so with that being said, and finally, did you know that you can actually disable log assist altogether? You can do it on an organization level. Customers have told us that as a Skyline Advisor admin, they wanted to be able to control or enable or disable log assist, based on their company's policies, right? To do a couple things, whether it's to better control, how they want to consume the service or to just basically adhere to company regulations. And so this feature does exactly that. It actually provides better control over the data that's owned by admins. And so all you have to do is, as you can see here, is all you have to do is just go to the advanced settings option, and then you can just disable or enable that toggle there. Then with that being said, any user will be able to sort of see, hey, you know what, it's been disabled for your organization. And if you, at any point in the future, if you wanted to re-enable it or reactivate it, you can do that as well. And Sonny, I know that this is something that you were testing in our sanity check today. Is there anything else that you'd like to add here in terms of just some additional color?
No, it's just that it's so our recommendations always is, you know, we provide both value, right? One from the finding side and one from the log assist side. Now, we have had and heard customers mentioning they love the proactive piece. They just can't do the log assist piece. So
Right.
this is one of the ways to deactivate that so you can still get the proactive side, get you
Right.
into Skyline and, you know, see the value there. And then when your team is ready, when your, you know, InfoSec team is ready, you can then liven up the log assist portion. And once again, get more value out of, you know, leveraging Skyline.
Very good. So let's segue, right? You know, so as I said at the top of the session, right, you know, many of our latest tips and tricks, you know, they're going to be dependent on your collector being on the latest version. So actually, you know, this is a perfect segue to sort of focus some attention on that. So let's talk about enabling upgrade, you know, especially if you're in the service right now and you can't see any of these cool features because again, you know, the collector is going to go live tomorrow. So let's talk about how you can be proactive and enable the auto upgrade feature. And so let's do that. And so basically all you got to do is just go and log into your collector. You know, you go to the configuration tab here, and then you just go to the collector heading right there. And then you just select auto upgrade. You know, you toggle that switch on, just toggle it on. You can pick the day of the week, which I would suggest you say immediately. And then as soon as that next upgrade, that collector 3.3 drops, you'll be able to get it, you know. And so that's as simple as that. Just log in, go to your configuration tab, go down to the collector heading, select auto upgrade, and you're good to go. And so when 3.3 drops tomorrow, you're golden. Anything else you want to add here, Sonny?
Nope. Other than just a reminder about the 3.1 manual upgrade.
Menu upgrade. So with that being said, right, you know, I see a question popped up here that says, hey, I'm trying to do this now, but I actually don't remember my admin password. I want to enable, but how do I get in, right? And so yeah, actually, you know, we got a solution for that, right? So as you can see here within this particular scenario, you know, you go in and you got to have your password, but what if you don't remember it? And so there's a little tip for that as well. So let's talk about it. And so here we are, right? You know, you've tried to log into the collector, you got the password wrong, you forgot it, or maybe you've inherited it for somebody else, right? And so this is what you do. You know, you log into the appliance within your vSphere client. You know, you launch the web console and you log in as root. You enter the root password. I already know the next question that's going to come up here. So what you got to do here is at this point, you know, you change the directory where the credentials are and you rename it. So you basically got to rename the credentials.json file. You know, you give it a name like credentials, or you move it or change it. And then once that is done, you reboot the appliance. And basically what this is going to do is it's going to create a new credential file. And then at that point, you know, you can reset the password. It's going to reset to the default. And then at this particular point, when you log in, you can enter a new password, right? And so I'd suggest you change the password to something that you're going to remember forever. And again, you know, as Sonny and I, we were sort of looking at this scenario here, you know, it occurred to us, you know, we were going to get the question. Someone was going to say, hey, you know, hey, that's fine and dandy, but what if I forgot the root password, right? Am I dead in the water? And the good news is that you're not. And so we're going to talk about that workflow as our next tip and trick, right? And so let's take a look about how to reset the root password if you've forgotten that. And so basically what happens is, again, you know, when you log into the collector appliance, you know, you need to perform a reboot. And from the console screen of the appliance, right, you know, when you see that Photon OS splash screen, you press E. You press it right there. And then you basically sort of have to scroll to the end of the Photon OS boot command. And then you got to enter a command. It's rw init equals bin bash. We've got a KB article right here that explains it all in detail. So make mental note of that. And then what that does is it's going to actually boot the appliance into a single user mode where you can actually write to the file system before going back to reset the root password. And so there's a couple things you can do there. So you've got, so far we've shown you how to enable upgrade, auto upgrade. We've shown you how to reset the admin password by using the root password. And if you've forgotten the root, we've actually shown you how to reset that as well. Sonny, is there anything additional you'd like to add here?
Sure, sure. When resetting both the root password and the admin password, rest assured, any of the configurations that you set as your endpoint, they're still intact. So you've never touched those. All you did was you just reset the root password to get in, to do a manual upgrade if you need to, or make changes. And you reset the admin password so you can come back in and add additional endpoints and stuff like that.
Good deal. And earlier, we talked about area operations for log. Again, that artist formerly known as VRLI's log insight. It's a new endpoint that Skyline supports. And if you want to add those endpoints or even more of the existing endpoints that Skyline supports, right, you can do that with bulk operations, right, which is a whole lot faster than entering them one at a time. And so basically, you log into the appliance, you take advantage of this template file. As you can see here, you can do a couple of things. You can create, you can update, you can delete, and just by simply adding in the different types of things that you want to do, you take that CSV file, that template, and you just basically just drag and drop it, right? And at that particular point, it's going to summarize all the actions that you want to do. It's going to give you a confirmation at that particular point that all the tasks that you want to do were successful. And then you can go back and confirm that everything was done just by simply going to the system status tab, and you can see all your endpoints. And so this is a great way to add those area operations for logs. Again, VRLI's log insight, as well as some of those additional existing endpoints as well. So this is a great way to do everything in bulk. And again, Sonny, I got to check in with you, man, and make sure that I'm staying honest.
No, so here's the thing, folks. The bulk import piece has just, it's been available for a little while now, but I find that this is actually the most powerful piece that you all should leverage. And I've got two scenarios for you. One scenario is let's say, for example, you deploy your Skyline, you use the bulk import to add all your endpoints in. If, God forbid, if it were to blow up because, data store, ESXi, you name it, if it were to blow up, you can actually deploy another collector. Takes you 10 minutes to do, and then use bulk import to import all of those endpoints in. Guess what? You just save yourself hours of work. Likewise, as an admin in the past, every 6 months to every year, I would have to change out all the root passwords to all of my environment. So I would script all of that, for my environment. But within Skyline, that means you have to go in and edit every single one of them. The image that, Kelsey showed earlier on, one part shows that, hey, you can use it as an upgrade or an update tool. So you can update the password across the board and, once again, save you hours of work.
Most definitely. Let's see here. What do we got next here? Oh, accounts. So we're going to segue now into this whole idea around our last batch of tips and tricks, right? For managing your Skyline org, right? The various different account types, the statuses, and all the members associated with that, right? And so with that being said, earlier, you heard us mention support for hyperscalers and ASP account types. And while this isn't as much a direct tip and trick per se, it is a setup for the next tip and trick, right? So again, it's worth mentioning that in addition to Premier, Production, Success 360 account types, hyperscalers and ASP account types now have access to Skyline with the same level of features and capabilities as production customers. And again, Sonny, we literally just left sanity testing here, and I know you were checking this as well. Is there anything you wanted to add about this particular piece? We've talked about this for a while. We talked about it at VMware Explorer, and it is official. It is a done deal. They're at the table.
Yeah. So as a customer who is working with ASPs and hyperscale and stuff like that, like a lot of time, those environments are out of the loop within the Skyline realm. Guess what? It's now made available, which means, they too can start getting value out of it, which then helps you as their customer. All right. From all the other functionalities that to love, they will have access as well. So that way it's a win-win for everybody.
Most definitely. Most definitely. And now for our next tip and trick, right? So did you know, Sonny, I'm sure you do, that Skyline provides the ability for admins to restore deactivated accounts. And what's really great about this feature, and it's a brand new feature, is that it's really helpful for accounts that could potentially go into a disabled state, or an account that perhaps has exceeded the 60-day, I believe, that grace period from account expiration, right? And so as an admin now, if you were to experience this scenario, all you have to do is just find one eligible link and link it. Basically, one account type, in this particular case, is a hyperscaler. You link it, it's eligible, and you can restore access to everyone within the organization that has access to it. So
in the past, what would happen is you try to go log in and it doesn't work. You'd have to create a service request to have it deactivated, and that could take hours or days. Here, you have the power to do it yourself.
And I think that's the key thing. You said service request. Here, this is self-serve. You know what I mean? So it's very, very immediate. You don't have to send it out to some place and have somebody
and wait.
Yeah, and wait. This is immediate. Yeah, this is definitely it. So that whole self-serve, which is what Skyline is all about, in terms of being proactive and even reactive to that degree. The satisfaction is immediate. Anything else, Sonny, on that?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. And then now for our last tip and trick of the session. So this is, I'm going to speak about this, and I'm going to let the video play, and then we're going to talk about it, and we're going to look at a little bit more detail. But what's really, what I wanted to talk about is, for the people who said they had organizations with 5 or more people, right? You may have people within Skyline that need different levels of permission. And if you're in a situation like that, where you got 5 different people or more, and they all need different levels of permission, you may want to consider leveraging groups, which is a feature within VMware Cloud Service, right? And so here in this particular case, you can see we got me, Sonny, Parth, and some other people. There's various groups with various different service roles, right? And so here I'm in a group called API users. And I've got specific service roles associated with the API user group. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say, let me modify the roles and permissions for everyone within the API users group. And so by simply going in and editing the role, and so in this particular case, I'm going to add some additional roles. I'm going to give them a Skyline user role. And by just simply editing the roles and permissions associated with that group, everyone associated with that group also inherits those permissions as well. Sonny, is there anything else you wanted to add here?
Yeah, I mean, you've all worked with, Active Directory before, so there's nothing new here, right? But the last thing we want to see you do is spend hours and days trying to identify individual users with individual rights, those who left the company, those coming into the company, try to match up. This is just, you drop them into these groups, and guess what? They inherit the same privilege as everyone else within that team. So
yeah, exactly. The tedium, right, like you said, of going through every individual users and modifying the roles. By simply leveraging groups, you change the roles and permissions within the groups. Everyone associated with that also inherits it. If you wanted to take a group offline, all of the members associated with that go offline, they get deactivated as well. So it's a great way to boost productivity without going through all the tedium of managing every individual member on an individual level. You can do this on a group level. And so with that, like I said, we're doing great here for time. That concludes our webinar. We hope you found it informative. Michelle, I wanted to give you an opportunity to see if there was anybody that wanted to come offline, or maybe even some questions that we can answer.
Yeah, we had a great participation in the t-shirt challenge. So we have several folks who responded, and they'll be getting t-shirts. It looks like a question just popped in here from Darren. What is the determining factor or best practice for the number of collectors to be deployed?
So do you want to take this?
Sure.
Okay.
So the way it works is for our collector, we technically have an unlimited amount of endpoints that we support. With that being said, if you have multiple data center, the recommendation is to drop one in every data center. If you have isolated dev, test, and prod where they don't intermingle, you may need a collector for each of those as well, because you know, you want to leverage the bandwidth of, or at least the segregation of all of those, right? And then last but not least, if you come across scenarios where, let's say, for example, you're our customer who has a lot of VCF, for that scenario, it may be that you may want to tie only a small amount of VCF to a collector and then create a new collector. And the reasons why I'm recommending all of this is if you and your team are going to be using log assist, the last thing you want to do is have only one collector picking up all the log bundles for everywhere within your environment, whether it be, you know, within your LAN, within your WAN. Hopefully that helps a little bit, Darren.
Thanks, Sonny.
So
And
another question, by the way, about, you know, and Kelsey and I, we tell people, but sometimes it doesn't come across, which is every webinar that you see us here, right? We love having you connect. We love having your questions, right? Because it makes it interactive. With that being said, there may be situations where you didn't see the last one, or your colleagues couldn't join. All of these webinars we post within our YouTube channel a few days later, which will allow you to have this on-demand experience of seeing all of this. Now, once again, we'd love to have you jump on and interact.
right. Matter of fact, we've got a star right there. Thanks to Daniela, we've actually got an official tag, you know, so you can find us on YouTube at VMware Skyline. And so to Sonny's point, we've got a lot of different resources. We've got our YouTube channel where you can see these webinars on demand if you're not able to participate live. We've got other resources like FAQs and blogs. You've even got a LinkedIn page as well. And so, you know, make sure that you're leveraging all of that. And last but not least, you know, we definitely have a moderated community. So as you can see here. And so be sure to check out all those different types of resources and content, because they're there to better connect us with you. Oh, there's a little flashing animation there too. And so with that being said, there's a couple things. We want to leave you with some additional resources that you can leverage. You know, we've got a Skyline toolkit. So if anyone's interested in leveraging the API, you know, our very own Sign You In, you know, he's got a toolkit that's out there as a VMware Fling. Be sure to check that out, and you can see a lot of cool things in terms of how you can leverage our API to connect and send findings to things like Slack, Jira, PagerDuty, a lot of different cool things that you can do to sort of automate the remediation of findings. You know, we've got the Skyline Task Force, right? You know, which consists of a lot of internal SMEs. You know, people like Shannon Fitzpatrick, got to call him out specifically because he's been very, very focused on leading this and that type of stuff. So Shannon, if you're out there, thank you for that. But basically what this task force does is that it actually does workshops. So if any of you, I saw in the survey, you're not using this service and you may be using this webinar to maybe get some more information, if you want to take it to the next level and talk to a SME, you can leverage our Skyline task force, and they will do basically like a workshop for you. And then last but not least, for you veterans out there in the audience, you've got a Skyline Advisor Pro certification badge. It's a free course, and you can take that course and you can get a badge that you can put on your LinkedIn profiles and things along those lines. And so be sure to leverage all of these different resources, regardless of where you are on the spectrum, whether you're just learning the service or if you're already a pro. We've got stuff for all of you. And with that, want to thank everyone for attending today's webinar. Sonny, you killed it again, as usual, my friend.
You did, Kelsey. Thank you, everyone, for participating.
Thank you.
Thank you.